What's up, guys? It is Tuesday, April 9th. It's 12:02 p.m. and this is a crypto market update. So we had our move up yesterday for Bitcoin. We had our expected move down today. What could be next for crypto, Bitcoin, especially with the halving coming up? We're going to dive into it in this video. So subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment, and now let's dive into it. So let's first off start with the drivers. So if we go to the drivers chart here, let's see. So in the bottom left-hand corner, we got the dollar. I'm going to stretch this out a little bit and let's see it. So we're tracking the daily chart. We're looking for that cross down on the TSI. We have it currently. We have a 1 day cross down on the TSI, but we need to confirm by the end of today. This is a critical week. Every day is critical in the sense of what happens on a day-to-day basis here is going to spell into what happens at the end of this week with this weekly candle. So it's a very important week to pay attention, especially right before the halving. So we have that 1 day TSI cross down. We need to wait for it tonight to get that confirmation. We do have a MACD red right now, but we're still on caution mode because it could be a fake breakdown or a fake momentum to the downside to pop up. So we need to watch it closely. But that TSI MACD cross down, we ultimately need to come down and break this 1 day 200 moving average around 103.80. And we need to see that blue cross above the pink. They're coming close to kissing. We're not quite there yet. We need to see a couple days of that shift in momentum to the downside for that to happen. And just like back here, when the blue crossed above the pink, February 23rd, that was back here. February 23rd was when we saw our big pump up. So we need to see that happen. That's the dollar. Now let's go to the bond yields real quick and just check on that. And bond yields are actually pulling down today. We want to see that 1 day cross down as well too. We do see momentum starting to wane, but not even close just yet. So bond yields, we're still tracking that. Not as close as the dollar to crossing down and shifting that momentum to the downside. Now let's look at the pump dump chart. So just like we're expecting, I had said in the video yesterday, if you haven't seen it, join the Discord and go to the market update section because I posted it there. So right here, yep. If we go to the pump dump chart, we can see that. And then the video I said yesterday was we were testing this we had a slam down. That's what brought us up yesterday. But we were testing this 786. So right here, we had tested the 786. I had said, hey, don't be surprised if we pop back up from this point, which would bring Bitcoin down to fill that gap that I was saying around 68K. So we held the line at the 786. We're popping up right now. This is probably the point where I want to see us get rejected at. If anything, we can go a little bit higher, but not too much. So this was not out of the realms of an impossibility. This is exactly what we're expecting. On the 12-hour chart, we're back up at this breakdown point. If we pop up further, I'd really like us to get rejected at the 786. So we take this high now to the bottom, and now we have this level where we want to see a rejection point at, which is right there. And we ultimately need to come back down, break this point right here. So we're in a 786 sandwich right now. We need to see a breakdown. And also this point of where we're at right now is also a critical level for us to get rejected at. So on the 12-hour chart, let's look at the momentum. We did cross down, but now we hard stopped at that zero line. So we need to see follow through momentum to the downside here. We do not want to cross up on that 12-hour. We don't. If we go to the 1 day chart, let's see where it's at. So yeah, we need to see that continued momentum to the downside these coming days so we can see that 1 day TSI cross down below that zero line. The 12-hour crossed down, but it got hard stopped right at that zero line. If we can see continued momentum to the downside, we'll want to see this blue pop back up and this pink come down. We had the blue come up, but ever since this pop up today, we came back down. Now they're kissing right now. So it's at a decision point. So that's what I'm tracking as far as the pump dump chart. This was definitely expected today. It's just a matter of what happens next is now the critical point. So now let's go to the alt season pulse chart right down here. And you can see that we're sandwiched. We're sandwiched between the 1 day 50 moving average and the belly of the beast. If we break above that 77% point and get above the 50-day moving average, I'm targeting 78%, which is the 200-day moving average. What we need to see is a breakdown below the belly of the beast. At that point, if we see a breakdown into the beast, with the jaws gnashing, the teeth gnashing on the candles, and we see the pump dump chart break down. If this chart goes down, plus the alt season pulse chart goes down, then alts are going up in a big way. And that's what I'm looking for as far as that point. If we look at the daily chart, we still have that momentum coming up. If we look at the 12-hour chart, let's see. We need a curl. We need a curl on the 12-hour for the alt season pulse chart. Looking at Bitcoin, let's take a look here in the bottom right corner. We are at 69K. Remember, we need to hold above 69K, but we needed to fill that gap at 68K. We didn't quite fill it just yet. We still have a little more room to go down. If I go to the Bitcoin future chart, I'll show you that gap. So see right here, we still got a little bit more to go down to fill that gap. As you can see, we got close. Yeah, we filled a little bit of it, but not quite just yet. We got to go to at least 68.4K on the Bitcoin future chart. Actually, there is a little bit of a gap down here, but if we go to the 4-hour chart, let's see. We do actually have a little bit. Actually, let me go to the 12-hour chart. No, technically we did fill this. I mean, when you go to the 4-hour chart and everything like there, see how like we filled the gap on the 12-hour, but on the 4-hour, it says we didn't. I like to stick to like the 12-hour chart or a little bit lower, like a 9-hour. Technically on the 9-hour though, we did fill this gap. The 12-hour, technically we did fill it, but I still want to see 68K get tapped. If we go to the regular Bitcoin chart, and we're on the 12-hour chart right now, I throw back those indicators. I want to see 68K get tapped because we have that 12-hour 50 moving average there as well too. I want to see it get tapped. 21 moving average we already did touch, but I would like to see us hit that 68K just to make sure the coast is clear as far as that gap. As well as if we break lower than that 68K from this low to this high here, I don't want to see us go anything lower than 66K. Because if we break 66K, then what it's saying as far as this target goes, we can come down to 63K, which is a scary moment. And that would be the neckline of this head and shoulders. Plus, it would be the low to the high here. It would be the 786 from the low that we had in late March to the high that we had set in late March as well too, or the high that we had set recently in April now. So we have confluence of the 786 there and that neckline of the head and shoulders. So 63K is the lowest, in my opinion, we can go. We have to hold that point. That's a critical must hold level, because if we start to break that level with momentum, we could have a major move down to 56K, 55K, but even lower to 48 to 50, 51K. So it's very important we hold 63K if we come down to that point. But first things first, I would just like to see us hold 68K and immediately have momentum back to the upside like that and reclaim above 72K to come up to breach 74K to then head up to around 83K. That's what I want to see. If we break 68K, the next line in the sand is 66K. And that's kind of like a caution point. At that point, if we break 66K and we come down to 63K, that's the last line in the sand before ultimately, if we have that momentum come down, then we could see a down move. So it's very important that we have the daily candle body closes above those key levels. Looking at the daily chart, if we look at the TSI, we were waiting for that daily cross up for the TSI. Let's pull in one of those things again where we got, like last time here, we got close and then it came down. Here we got super close and now we're pulling down a bit and we have a dark red MACD on the daily. Very important that we see in the next 24 hours, 48 hours, momentum back to the upside so we can see this cross. Going to the 12-hour chart, we did see a cross. We're pulling back down, but that's okay. As long as we remain above this zero line and then cross up again, that will pull the 1 day up. So that's what I'm watching there. And then we had that 12-hour buy now signal that flash, which is a very good sign, but we need to hold those key levels as well too. And we need to see this pink remain above the blue. That's Bitcoin. Looking at the others market cap now for the altcoins, let's take a look here. So we're still above this macro 786 right now. So we're above that level. Very key to hold 324 billion. If we pull down lower, I'd just want to see us hold those previous lows down here. That's where the 3-day 21 moving average is. If we end up seeing Bitcoin break those key levels, it's likely we're going to come down and retest this purple moving average here around 260 billion, which from current levels is about a 20% fall. That's why, it was good seeing what we saw yesterday, but we still want to remain cautiously optimistic because we're not quite out of the woods yet until we breach these highs up here and take out these 786s. As you can see, we came up to the 786. So from this high down to the low, we came up to the 786, got rejected so far, but now we're in a micro and macro 786 sandwich. We need to break above 345 billion. We need to hold 324 billion. So we might just ping pong back and forth until ultimately Bitcoin makes its move and decision on if it's going to hold those key levels and bounce up to take out those highs or not. So very much on the radar for this week. That's all I'm going to go into for today. Just know that Yesterday, the move up was expected. Today, the move down was expected. Now it's just a matter of what happens next. And what happens next, in my opinion, is going to be what brings on the big move, whether it be to the downside, to the upside. So those are the key levels to the downside for Bitcoin to watch. And ultimately, remember, above 69K, we're fine because we're above the previous all-time high. Above 72K, we're doing very well for altcoins. Above 74K for Bitcoin, then altcoins are melting up. So those are the key levels. How we can gauge it is by watching the momentum on the 1 day time frame, and how we can gauge how that's going to move is going down to lower time frames like the 12-hour chart, the 6-hour chart, the 3-hour chart, and gauging the cross ups, cross downs, the placement of the TSI above zero line, below zero line based off of that and the different time frames. So I'd be looking to watch Bitcoin with those key levels and looking at lower time frames, especially now that we've gauged the higher time frames with the TSI. We now need to see like the 3-hour TSI, the 2-hour, the 1-hour TSI cross up and reclaim that zero line for us to remain in a good level and good placement for Bitcoin. So I'll be in the Discord, keeping people updated in real time as price action unfolds. I'll see you over in the Discord. Link is in the bio. And I'll see you guys in the next video.